It's taken 4 years for Amy to finally come forward and talk about her fight to live. It was in June 2016 when her life nearly ended. Her journey back has been incredible, and what she hopes you'll take away from her story is inspiring. The simple pleasures that most of us enjoy, like watching the rain fall on a gloomy day.
Before, I remember I'd be like, oh my goodness, it's cloudy outside, or I don't want to get up. But now, oh my God, it's cloudy outside and it's beautiful.
Amy now vows to never take for granted. Walk me through that day.
I just had this inclination, I just knew something wasn't right.
It was June 6th, 2016. Amy was found naked and with a gunshot wound to her head near a pond in Wapato.
I knew if I didn't get through it, that nobody would ever find me, and that I'd just be another lost, murdered woman in the Yakima Valley.
The story of how Amy got there started 5 days earlier, when she said she heard something that she was never supposed to. The next day, 3 men kidnapped her off the street. They first took her to a house.
And I just remembered all of a sudden just screaming, like a blood-hurtling scream like I've never screamed before.
As a bag of cement was swung at her head.
And I could hear my teeth chipping, and I could taste blood in my mouth, and it was awful.
But her captors weren't done with her. Freddie Razzo, along with Daniel James Perez Jr. and Brandon Honeycutt, put a gun to the back of her head and forced her into a car.
And I was just touching anything and everything, hoping that if for some reason that I could leave DNA evidence that I was in the car.
She says she even tried calling 911 with the phone she found on the floor. Her kidnappers saw and hung up. They drove her to Wapato. They veered off the main road and into this drainage tunnel underneath the highway. Then they dragged her out of the car, took her down this trench, and shot her in the back of the head behind these shrubs. She stayed here for 5 days.
They were like, is she dead? Is she dead? And like poking at me and like kicking me with their feet. And I just remember holding my breath. I'm pretty sure I was about ready to die.
She bargained with God. She hallucinated.
All of a sudden my grandfather, who was very close to me, started talking to me. I was like, Grandpa, I can't do this. I'm so tired. I can't do this anymore. And he goes, you can do this. You can, honey.
She desperately threw rocks. She hollered. Then a fisherman finally heard her screams. They rushed her to the hospital. She was in multiple ones for 5 months.
And they actually told me that maggots help save my life and keep me alive because they only eat dead flesh and they cauterize the wound so I didn't bleed to death.
Surgeons put a titanium plate in the back of her head and used skin from her thigh to cover it. She was left legally blind.
When I was getting ready to leave the hospital, the nurse came and she looked at the board and she said, Amy McGee? And I was like, yeah? She's like, oh my God. She's like, hold on. And then all of a sudden, all these people came rushing into my room. And she's like, look at her, she's here. And she's like, oh my God, sweetheart. She's like, we prayed for you because when you were brought in, you looked so bad and so awful that we didn't think you were going to make it. And she's like, and here you are, look at you.
Which brings Amy to now.
It might have changed my life, but it didn't end my life.
And for that, Amy's grateful. She now counts every raindrop.
I did survive, and I am here today, and I did change my life. And it might not be the life that I intended for it to be, but it's my life.
At some point or another in our lives, like Amy, we all need to fight our bad guys. Everyone gets their courage from different places. Amy got hers from a TV show. Amy was in court 1 time throughout this, and during that time, she hid a picture of Mariska Hargitay inside her shirt while she testified against Freddie Razzo.
Tell me who this is.
That's Olivia Benson from SVU, Law and Order.
How did she help you?
She just gave me strength and courage just from her character, and I actually used a quote of hers when I was being, when I did my testimony in court.
What was the quote?
I did what I had to do to survive.
She still keeps the picture with her everywhere she goes. Mariska Hargitay's foundation is called Joyful Heart. It's dedicated to helping survivors of sexual assault, domestic violence, and child abuse. To learn how you can get involved, you can visit our website. From Studio Jasmine, Darajky, KHQ Local News.